Chapter 31 Ernestnia, new book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Knock, knock. Just as Rod was getting the hang of armament hockey, a knock on the door snapped him out of his excitement. He hung the saw blade back on the wall, thinking he should set aside a room for all the weapons he'd acquired. They were all treasures that had helped him out. After all, shoes and other junk didn't need a space though. With that thought, Rod opened the door. Nia. What's up? He looked at Nia standing there, holding a bounty poster, and frowned. Got something to tell you. Got a minute? She gestured towards his room, implying she wanted to talk inside. Sure, come on in. Rod left the door open and walked over to his table, grabbed a Coke from his mini-fridge, and offered it to Nia. Mind if I join? Nero's voice came from the doorway. Without waiting for an invitation, he strolled in, pulled up a chair, and fixed his green eyes on Nia. I can probably guess what this is about. Then I'll just get to it. It's not exactly a state secret. I just didn't know how to bring it up with everyone around. Nia popped the top off the Coke and took a sip, then slapped her bounty poster on the table. A very flattering picture, what about it? Check out the fine print, Rod. Rod glanced down and immediately noticed Nia's bounty was different. Only alive? He looked up at Nia, surprised. Well, that's interesting. Rod's face was curious. A secret seemed to be brewing. In the original timeline, the only other person he knew with that bounty condition was Sanji. Thanks to the Vinsmoke family, could it be the Catwoman on his ship also had a hidden past? I never mentioned it, but my full name is Ernestnia. Nia looked at Rod squarely as she revealed her full name. I'm not Rhodes. That's not the point. Nia clenched her fist. Ernest is a noble family in the Dawson Kingdom, with influence on par with the king. Nero chimed in. Dawson Kingdom? Rod frowned. He didn't memorize every detail like Nero, but he knew the basics. The Kingdom of Dawson was a powerful nation in the North Blue and a member of the world government. It even wielded significant influence within the world government itself, and was one of the 50 nations that participated in the World Conference. The country was known for its top-notch intelligence network. Their military intelligence division was infamous in the underworld, rumored to have ties to information brokers worldwide, and the family in charge of Dawson's military intelligence. The Ernest family. A disgruntled heir from a minor branch? Or a secret love child left out in the cold? Rod's mind raced. Nia didn't miss the change in his eyes. Seeing the gossip swirling around in his head, she just sighed. Whatever you're thinking, it's simpler than that, Nia said, annoyed. After revealing her identity, the first thing she got was gossip. I'm the eldest daughter of the Ernest family, but I hated their shady lifestyle, so I left 2 years ago. A rebellious rich girl. Forgive me, but with the Ernest family's intelligence network, it shouldn't have taken them more than a couple of months to drag you back. Nero muttered. As Rod's right-hand man, he needed to help where Rod wasn't as strong, whether it was external intelligence or internal team dynamics. Neo probably covered for me. Now that the cat was out of the bag, Nia held nothing back and told her story. As a family that had controlled the kingdom's military intelligence department for generations, the Ernest family was constantly involved in dark dealings. But Nia had always been disgusted by it. Espionage, subterfuge, betrayal, assassination, everything the Ernest family relied on to survive made Nia sick. So, the night before she turned 17 and was officially set to enter the military intelligence department and take over the family's responsibilities, Nia ran away. Using the power of a devil fruit she accidentally ate, she transformed into a black cat and quietly slipped away without alerting anyone. Then came 2 years of wandering the seas. Hold on, how old is your brother? 2 years younger, so he's almost 18 now. Based on what you're saying, your brother must be a total prodigy. Rod stroked his chin. He took your place after you left and took over the family business. He was barely 16, yet he managed to control your family's intelligence network and cover for you this whole time. He's different from me. He's been brilliant since he was a kid. The family always said he was born for this. Nia's tone was complicated as she spoke about her brother. In that case, just let your brother take over the family. Why would you need to get involved? Because of the king. Nia's tone was resentful. The current king, Dawson Bourbon, is a hedonist who ignores state affairs, but he's obsessed with power. He thinks the Ernest family has too much influence, which is a threat to his rule. So he demanded a marriage between the Ernest family and the royal family to split the Ernest family's power and strengthen the king's position. So you were the lucky bride-to-be. Who wants to marry that old geezer? Not even after 2 years, Nia was still fuming. I'm free. Whether I get married or not, and who I marry, is my decision. Neither the king nor those old geezers in my family can force me to do anything I don't want to. That's what I'm talking about. Nott Rod stood up and applauded Nia. That's the spirit of the road pirates. We're not afraid of the 7 warlords of the sea, let alone the Dawson kingdom. You're my partner, and I'll protect you. That when Nia wasn't paying attention, Rod patted her head. He'd wanted to do that for a while now, especially when she was in her half-human, half-beast form, a cat-eared girl. Thanks to the book friend 20220515130623861 for the monthly ticket. Chapter 32 Domineering Teaching, new book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yeah, I know, but I wanted to fill you in. Nia shook off Rod's hand, forgetting their previous conversation. Her eyes sparkled as she zeroed in on him. Can you teach me that trick you picked up from the pink-haired Marine? Nia, naturally drawn to speed and agility, had noticed the Marine's lightning-fast moves in the previous fight, and how Rod seemed to have mastered them too. She tried figuring it out on her own, but after 2 days of banging her head against the wall, she'd made no progress. She even ended up taking a dive into the ocean during practice. Good thing Xia Qi was swimming below, otherwise, who knows what would have happened. You mean, shave, right? I was planning on showing you guys anyway. And not just shave, but hockey too. I want to teach you all about it. Hockey. Nia blinked, the word vaguely familiar. Let's head up to the deck. I don't want to keep repeating myself. Everyone should come. Rod led the way out of the room, calling out to Pekan on lookout, then to Xiachi, who was trailing behind the ship. Beepo and Law emerged from their room, drawn by the commotion, and even Gray was dragged up by Nelu. I learned some new moves from the Marines during that fight. He couldn't exactly tell his crew about the Knights Don't Die with Bare Hands ability, so Rod decided to just chalk it up to being a super genius. He was just naturally gifted and picked things up quick. If Luffy could learn stuff instantly, why couldn't he? First up, shave. Rod took a step, and in a blink, he was at the bow of the ship, then back in his original spot a split second later. This move is about kicking the ground dozens of times in an instant, within 0.36 seconds to be exact, using the explosive force to move at high speed. What you just saw is the result. To pull this off, you need crazy physical strength to start with. Except for Gray, everyone else should be good. Law, you need to master this too. Don't rely solely on your devil fruit power. There are forces in the Grand Line that can nullify devil fruit abilities. I know. Law frowned slightly. Time was becoming an issue. His schedule was already packed with medical studies, honing his devil fruit abilities, and physical training. Now, he had to add physical techniques to the mix. He barely had time to read comics anymore. But when I try it, I can't control where I'm going, Nia complained. The concept was similar to what she'd been trying. She'd used similar techniques to boost her speed before, aiming for the same effect, but she always ended up rocketing off in some random direction. Show me, I'll take a look. Under Rod's watchful eye, Nia started moving her feet, and the next thing anyone knew, she was hurtling towards the kitchen. Nelu instantly appeared behind her, steadying her to prevent Gray from having to fix the door again. He then offered Nia a gentle smile when she glanced at him. You can shave too. Yup, just picked it up. Your footwork is off. The trickiest part about shave is precisely controlling each step. If you can't hit the same spot with each kick, the force scatters, and you lose control of your direction. like we just saw. How did you learn it so fast? Nelu couldn't believe it. While she often said her brother was a genius, she, who was originally trained as the heir of the family, was also a genius. Why did she suddenly feel so slow compared to Rod and Nelu? Because I've seen and heard way more than you, Nelu replied with a faint smile. Hearing his answer, Nia's eyes lit up, and she remembered some of Neru's previous actions. He had predicted the arrival of the Navy, his incredibly accurate shooting could hit the target accurately without even looking, not to mention the magical predictive shooting. It's hockey. As if sensing Nia's unspoken question, Rhodes, after explaining the basics of shave, began to talk about hockey. Hockey is a latent power that all humans possess. It's an innate ability, like an instinct, but most people never realize it or learn to use it in their lifetime. And on these seas, especially in the Grand Line, if you want to become truly strong, you have to master it. Before I dive into the different types of hockey, I want you to understand one thing: conviction is power. Conviction is power. Everyone's faces reflected their individual thoughts as they repeated Rhodes' words. There are two main types of hockey. The ability to strongly sense the presence of others is called observation hockey. When trained, this allows you to detect the location and number of enemies outside your line of sight, and even predict their next moves. If you take it to the extreme, you can even see the future. Predict the future. Nia was blown away by what Rhodes said, and a realization began to dawn on her: that must be how Nera knew the Marines were coming from so far away. And his predictive shooting, was that what he meant by seeing the future? Armament hockey can enhance your personal defense, acting like invisible armor. It can also be used to amplify your attacks, allowing you to go toe-to-toe with Devil Fruit users, and even touch the physical form of Logia-type users. There are no shortcuts to mastering hockey. You have to rely on your body to feel it, awakening the power hidden within you through battle. Rhodes held out his palm, and an invisible force enveloped his arm. Compared to observation hockey, training armament hockey is relatively straightforward. My plan is that as long as your physical fitness is up to par, repeated clashes involving armament hockey will naturally trigger the latent power within you, leading to a successful awakening. Rhodes flashed a wicked grin at Law. You're up first, Law. With your sharp mind, you should be able to pick it up quickly. Pekin and Xia Qi instinctively took a half-step back, shielding Beepo. They knew that smile all too well. Their initial hellish training regimen started with Rhodes wearing that exact expression. While they were now completely used to that kind of training, and even enjoyed it, the fear from the beginning was still etched in their memories. Almost 10 years later, it was back. That feeling, of being dominated by grueling training, was back. Chapter 33, The Watching of the Baroque Studio, New Book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tiger Shark Island, this place is a free-for-all. Anarchy has reigned for so long, the island is a constant rumble of violence and brawls, but even here, there's one rule everyone respects: don't mess with the shops. Even the nastiest pirates pay for their goods. Fighting is just pirate on pirate, it doesn't spill over onto the merchants. Partly, it's an unspoken code in the underworld. Any pirate who robs a store gets blacklisted and can't resupply anywhere. But also, anyone running a shop here is nobody's fool. Awesome, I'm feeling the vibe. That the polar ship eased into the coast. Rhodes tasted the air, thick with the scent of danger, and licked his lips. Fighting was exactly what he needed right now, though. The folks here were weak. I'll stay and watch the ship, Luo volunteered, his face a patchwork of bruises. He'd been through hell the last couple of days, but Rhodes wasn't one for empty words. After days of brutal training, Luo seemed to be unlocking something inside. Xiong, let's hang back with Luo, Beepo said, glancing at Luo's battered face. Just in case. He said he was fine, but Beepo wasn't leaving him alone. Hehe, Xiong was a true friend. Okay, Pejin, Sachi, Gray, Nia, you four go get the supplies, and make it snappy. Neru and I are gonna nose around, see if we can find a decent cook. Gotta go. I'd rather stay put. Even from the ship, Gray could hear gunfire and death screams, and smell the gunpowder and blood on the breeze. What are you on about? We're useless when it comes to mechanics. You're the one who needs to pick out the research materials. Nia waved a hand, dragging the others off the boat toward the island. Pejin and Sachi exchanged glances, then each positioned themselves to protect Gray as he disembarked. They knew a thing or two about mechanics themselves, having helped Dr. Wolf in the past. But when Rhodes gave an order, everyone followed. Besides, Gray needed to toughen up. He wasn't a fighter, but he couldn't be a complete pushover either. The sea was a brutal place, and they were here to conquer it. Let's roll. Keep the polar safe for us, Luo. Rhodes watched Nia and the others head off, then nodded at Luo and steered Neru in a different direction. He sensed several strong auras nearby, people who probably had information to trade. Are those their colors? On a nearby hillside, a man and woman lay prone, binoculars trained on the pirate ship at the coast. Crossed swords and guns, fists on top. Yeah, that's the Rod pirates. The man consulted a dog-eared booklet, his voice suddenly buzzing with excitement. This is a big score. The crew's got a total bounty of 185 million berries. Make that 185 million and star 200 star berries. Don't get hung up on the small change. Be professional. Shuji. How will you ever get promoted with that attitude? I partnered with you because I saw your potential, thought you were on the fast track. But if you can't dial in your focus and work with the right attitude, I will replace you. The attractive woman leveled a glare at her partner. Right, got it. Margaret. Shuji nodded vigorously at his partner. They were members of Baroque Works, but just low-level grunts. Baroque Works was a major player from the Grand Line, a company with a strict hierarchy: President, Chief Commander, Executive Commander, Billion-Berry Messengers, and Million-Berry Messengers. They were scraping the bottom of the barrel as Million-Berry Messengers. If they got promoted to Chief Commander, they'd finally get to enjoy the company's perks. They'd only head out on the toughest jobs, and they'd get to boss around the Million-Berry and Billion-Berry Messengers under their command, but promotions were hard to come by. You needed solid accomplishments to move up, and the Chief and Executive Commander spots were always up for grabs. But now, a golden opportunity had landed in their laps. If they reported intel on the Rod pirates, and the company sent senior officers to capture them, they'd get a cut of the credit. Could they bag such a high-bounty crew? Baroque Works was from the Grand Line. These North Sea pirates must have committed some serious crimes to rack up such a price on their heads. As for their actual combat skills, they might not be much, and as luck would have it, Mr. 11, an executive commander, happened to be on the island on other business. Shuji, hit Mr. 11 on the den mushy, now. I'll keep an eye on them. Because of her looks, Margaret had been hand-picked by the executive commander and given a den mushy that allowed them to contact him directly, for quick intel reporting. Roger. Shuji pulled a den mushy from his pocket and punched in Mr. 11's number. Brew. Wait a minute, where did everyone go? Margaret stared through the binoculars, confused. While they'd been talking, the crew had vanished. All that was left was the polar bear with the 200 berry bounty, flapping his arms and babbling nonsense, and the group Nia led. They were probably stocking up on supplies in the shopping district. She'd find them later, but where were the heavy hitters? Rod, the mad sword, worth 71 million berries, and Neru, the black gun, at 44 million. She'd seen them just a minute ago. She swung the binoculars around, her anxiety growing. Were they trying to slip away? Gotcha. This is Mr. 11, what is it? This is Million-Berry Messengers Shuji and Margaret. We've located the Rod pirates on the west coast. Ha, that's a crew with a total bounty of 185 million and 200 berries. Keep them pinned down, and your efforts will be handsomely rewarded. Mr. 11 chuckled, dished out a few instructions, and hung up. We're gonna get promoted. Shuji couldn't contain his excitement, but then he saw the look of stark terror on his partner's face. What's wrong, Margaret? Looking for someone? Margaret didn't answer. A low voice had purred from behind Shuji. Chapter 34, Undead Monster, new book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who's behind me? Crap. Xiao-Ji's smile froze, even though he was just a low-level agent, only 1 million, because he'd just joined Baroque Works, his strength was closer to 1 billion. All he lacked was recognition, the fact that someone could sneak up on him like that. If they had wanted him dead, he'd already be fish food. Xiao-Ji turned slowly to see 2 red-haired teenagers standing there, those faces. Crazy Blade Rhodes and Black Spear Nelu, the guys he was supposed to be reporting. His heart skipped a beat, but he forced a smile. So, who exactly are you? Rhodes picked up the intelligence file Xiao-Ji had dropped, flipped through it, and answered, we're part of the Baroque Works crew. We've been hanging out on Tiger Shark Island, gathering intel and looking for bounties to collect. Knowing he was facing someone way out of his league, Xiao-Ji spilled the beans. I'm with Baroque Works. Baroque Works. Hearing the familiar name, Rhodes raised an eyebrow, taking another look at them, the action teams, the matching outfits, the discreet Baroque Works logo, yep, that checked out. Our headquarters are on the Grand Line. Thinking Rhodes didn't know their deal, Xiao-Ji started to explain, hoping to make them think twice about killing him. Yeah, I know. Criminal organization founded by Crocodile, based in Alabasta. What? Crocodile? Xiao-Ji and Marjorie's eyes bugged out. Their jaws dropped in unison. Rhodes and Nelu had a clear view. Oh, right. You guys all use code names to hide your real identities. As if suddenly remembering something, Rhodes slapped his forehead. Oops, my bad. I think I just screwed you over. I heard Crocodile offed anyone who knew he was the boss of Baroque Works. We're doomed. Xiao-Ji and Marjorie felt their blood run cold. Knowing that secret was a death sentence, they had 0 chance of surviving an attack by a warlord of the sea. Who were you calling just now? Mr. 11. He was on the island looking to recruit some muscle. Mr. 11. Rhodes racked his brain, but nothing came to him, too low a number. He drew a blank. You think Mr. 11 can take us? Rhodes was genuinely confused, he had a 71 million belly bounty on his head. That was enough to make a name for himself even on the Grand Line. What made them think some low-ranking nobody from Baroque Works stood a chance? We figured you only had that bounty because you pulled off some crazy stunt. Xiao-Ji, lost in his fear of being hunted by a warlord, was basically word-vomiting all over Rhodes. Mr. 11 has been having trouble with this one monster. I heard HQ is sending the Chief of Staff to take over. Chief of Staff? Yeah, Mr. 5, or someone higher up. Could it be the guy with the 3 on his head? When Rhodes thought about the top guys at Baroque Works, the first person who came to mind was that dude with the 3 tattooed on his forehead and holding a teacup. If it really was him, Rhodes was curious to see if the so-called strongest lieutenant could really measure up. I don't know who it is specifically. Seeing the look on Rhodes' face, Xiao-Ji added quickly, then, putting on his most flattering expression, he spoke cautiously. Seeing as I've been so forthcoming, could you guys maybe keep this to yourselves? After panicking about Crocodile and imagining all the horrible ways he could die, Xiao-Ji finally had an epiphany. He and Marjorie were just small fry. Sure, they accidentally stumbled on the boss's secret identity, but as long as they didn't blab about it, nobody would know. Not even the Chief of Staff knew Crocodile's real identity. As long as these two didn't spill the beans, they might be okay. Of course, he couldn't beat them, so he had to ask them to keep it a secret. Not bad. You're a quick thinker. Rhodes looked at the little guy in surprise. He didn't expect to meet so many smart people by such a coincidence in this world, where almost everyone was dense as a brick. Relax. I'm not a tattletale. Rhodes grinned and waved the intelligence file. Answer 3 more questions, and you're free to go. First, are there any good chefs on this island? Chefs? Xiao-Ji and Marjorie exchanged a look, hesitated, and then offered, the business district up north. There are a few decent restaurants there. Maybe their chefs are good. Not exactly helpful. Rhodes clearly wasn't impressed, but he'd just asked on a whim. He'd swing by and check it out later. Second question, where can I find this Mr. 11? That if the guy was looking for trouble, Rhodes figured he might as well go looking for him. Save him the hassle. Also in the North District. Mr. 11 likes booze and women. He's been hanging out at the North Sea-style bar since he got here. Coincidence or what? Everyone he wanted to see was in the North District. Third question, who's the monster you said the company wanted to recruit? Hearing that, a flicker of fear flashed across Shio-ji's face, while Marjorie blushed slightly, with a hint of something like longing in her eyes. He's a real monster. Unkillable. Seeing the skeptical looks on Rhodes and Nelu, Shio-ji quickly added, I'm serious. I saw it myself. Fists, swords, nothing works. Even with a hole through his chest and his arms broken, he just keeps fighting and taking down everything in his way. Lay it on a little thick, why don't you? Rhodes glanced at Nelu, who gave a small shake of the head. He wasn't lying. We call him Zombie Man Genos. Chapter 35, Attention from All Sides, New Book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tiger Shark Island, downtown. Your prices are outrageous. Nia, standing on a crate, glared down at the shopkeeper, trying to intimidate him into lowering his prices. This is a small business, I don't haggle. The owner remained unfazed by Nia's attempt to bully him, even warning her slightly, his expression unchanged. You need to remember you're on Tiger Shark Island. No matter who you are, you play by the rules here. Whatever, Nia muttered, unimpressed. If she wasn't worried about attracting unwanted attention, she wouldn't give in to such a rip-off. Fine, whatever. Nia gritted her teeth and paid, refusing the ridiculously priced cart the owner tried to push on her. Together with Pekin and Xia-Chi, she lugged the box towards the coast. Gray was too small to help. As soon as Nia and her group were gone, the owner pulled out a listening device from his drawer. He smiled as he looked at some photos, then used another phone to make a call. I've got intel on Catwoman Nia, plus photos. Same deal as always. No problem, as long as the information is accurate. Of course, my reputation's on the line. Same here. A smile spread across the owner's face as he quickly described the situation and sent the photos he'd secretly taken. Far out at sea, 2 warships were sailing. Lord Gula, we have information from Tiger Shark Island. Catwoman Nia has been spotted there. Is it confirmed? Yes, sir, we have photos. A man with short purple hair took the offered photo. The woman in it was clearly Nia. She looks more mature. Gazing at the familiar face, a hint of tenderness flickered in Gula's eyes. Bang. He suddenly kicked the subordinate in front of him, sending him flying. In a flash, Gula was standing over him, coldly barking, remember, you will refer to her as Lady Nia. Yes, sir. Contact the lead ships. The plan has changed. The target is no longer in Hulga's town. Change course, we're heading to Tiger Shark Island. Watching the subordinate scramble to contact the other warship, Gula turned to another subordinate standing by the door. Tell Neo I want to see him. After his subordinates left, Gula stared at the photo in his hand, murmuring, it's time your little pirate game ended, Nia. The 2 warships swung around, circling on the sea as they turned towards Tiger Shark Island, Hulga's town, the northern port. A pink flamingo-themed sailboat docked, and several figures disembarked. The leader, wearing a pink feathered coat and red sunglasses, strutted toward the center of town. Am I seeing things? Why would someone that big come here? Is something about to go down? Everyone at the port stopped what they were doing, some looking frightened, others confused, and some even with fanatical admiration. Shichibukai da Flamingo. What brings you here? Colonel Gree, the Navy headquarters officer stationed in Hulga's town, rushed over, sweat beading on his forehead as he stared at Doflamingo. Doflamingo ignored him, walking straight past him towards the center of town, where the Don Quixote family owned property. We don't need to report our actions to the Navy, baby, 5 said, following Doflamingo with Buffalo in tow. Colonel Gree's face turn from blue to red as he watched them dismiss him. Finally, he feebly lowered his arms and ordered his adjutant, "Keep an eye on them and report anything unusual immediately." "Yes, sir." That the adjutant hurried off with several Marines, leaving Colonel Gree to silently ponder the reason for Doflamingo's appearance. Warlords of the sea usually only operate in the Grand Line and rarely visit the Four Seas. Could it be because of what happened recently? As the Navy officer stationed on the North Sea island closest to the Grand Line, Colonel Gree was aware of the recent events. Cadres from the Don Quixote family had been killed by a fledgling pirate crew in the North Sea. In fact, he'd received orders from headquarters to eliminate this group of pirates, but on his own, he stood no chance against them. Even if the Rhodes pirates showed up, Colonel Gree knew his limits. After all, even Vice Admiral Bastille had lost to them. He wondered when reinforcements would arrive from headquarters. Gree thought to himself, neither this rookie pirate group nor the warlord of the sea Doflamingo were something he could handle. "Young master, I just got some news." Doflamingo had just entered his property and sat down. Before he could open a bottle of wine, a member rushed in. "What is it?" Doflamingo calmly opened a bottle of red wine and slowly poured it into a glass. He just needed to wait for Law to show up, then he'd defeat him and bring him back to the New World. "The Rhodes pirates have been spotted on Tiger Shark Island." Tiger Shark Island. Doflamingo stopped pouring wine. If he remembered correctly, that was a small island west of Hulga's town, close to the calm belt. They'd passed it on their way from the New World to the North Sea, and that island wasn't on the route from Spedemir's town to Hulga's town. Could it be they weren't planning on entering the Grand Line through Hulga's town? Doflamingo immediately understood the Rhodes pirates' plan, and anger flared within him. "Those damned brats are thinking ahead." It would take a full day to reach Tiger Shark Island, even with the fastest ship, and they clearly wouldn't be staying that long. "Buffalo." Doflamingo called for Buffalo, who had just sat on the sofa and was about to dig into a bucket of ice cream. "Take me to Tiger Shark Island." "Huh?" Buffalo, with a bucket of ice cream in his lap, was stunned. "Didn't we just pass that island yesterday?" Chapter 36 The Chief Commander Arrives. New book, please read. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tiger Shark Island, Central Business District, North Sea Style Bar. Score. "I just landed the Rod Pirates gig," Mr. 11 said, hanging up the phone and taking a relieved sip of wine. A month ago, headquarters tasked him with inviting someone from North Sea to join Baroque Works. With Baroque Works rep, he figured it was a slam dunk. But the guy flat out refused, no matter what angle he tried. Usually, Baroque Works ropes people in with two classic moves, muscle and money, but no promises moved the guy. He didn't even flinch. All he wanted was a quiet life. When persuasion failed, Mr. 11 tried force. Bad move. The guy was a monster the company specifically wanted on board. Mr. 11's swordsmanship, normally his pride and joy, was no match. To top it off, his partner, Miss Thursday, ended up in bed nursing her injuries, so, 2 days ago, HQ called again, ordering him to keep tabs on their target's movements on Tiger Shark Island. The top brass were sending in Mr. 5 to take over. Company rules meant failure meant severe punishment. Knowing their reach, running wasn't an option. All he could do was drown his sorrows in booze and babes, but Lady Luck might be on his side after all. The Rod Pirates' total bounty of 185,200,000 berries should be enough to make up for his screw-up. He might even snag a bonus from the boss. Mr. 11 felt himself relax even more. "Looking pretty chill, Mr. 11. You botched the mission and we're stuck cleaning up the mess, but you're kicking back with a drink." A chilly voice cut through the air as the compartment door burst open. A guy with wild hair and sunglasses swaggered in. "You're an embarrassment to the company, Mr. 5. Mr. 11's face twitched. "Heh, let's just off him, the pathetic loser." A woman's voice followed. A tall blonde with short hair stepped in, still holding an umbrella indoors. "Ms. Valentine." Mr. 11's face went pale, then smoothed out as he remembered something. They might be acting tough, all ready to off him, but he was sitting on a game-changing piece of intel that could benefit everyone. "Why don't you two take a load off and have a drink?" The whole monster thing didn't pan out, but I've got solid information now. If you pitch in, we can make a real contribution to the company. He gestured for the pair to sit, pouring them wine himself, dismissing the girls, and reattaching the kicked-in door. Intrigued, Mr. Five and Ms. Valentine sat down. Their threats were just for show. Sure, they outranked him, but he was still a mid-level exec. Any punishment would come from the boss, not them. Plus, nailing this mission required his cooperation. They'd also been briefed on the target. New intel suggested he was way out of Mr. 11's league. The boss didn't necessarily blame him for failing, so why not hear the guy out? What? The Rod pirates have a total bounty of 185,200,000 berries. Mr. Five's jaw dropped. He gulped down some wine to regain his composure. You sure about that, Mr. 11? I mean, that's tempting, but we can't handle enemies at that level. Pirate crews with bounties that high were rare. Even in the Grand Line, the most they'd ever faced was a measly 41 million berries, and the Rod pirates' captain was worth a whopping 71 million. Plus, 2 other tough guys had bounties over 40 million. Relax, I've got the scoop. Mr. 11 refilled Mr. Five's glass, radiating confidence. They're just greenhorns, they haven't accomplished anything major. These roaming pirates, even if they're strong, their power is limited. The Navy probably offered such a high reward because they committed some nasty crimes. Mr. Five nodded, shamefaced. He'd gotten carried away by the numbers. Now that he thought about it, this rookie crew probably wasn't all that tough. With your skills, taking them down will be a piece of cake. This is a gift from the gods. Mr. Five took a sip and grinned. Our gift, you mean? Heh heh heh. That's right, our gift. Ms. Valentine echoed, with a nasty smirk. Don't worry, I'll put in a good word on the mission report. I doubt the company will hold your failure against you. Asterisk those two, Mr. 11 seated, they were trying to hog all the credit, but they had the upper hand, and he'd already screwed up once. He couldn't take them on. If only Ms. Thursday hadn't been taken out of commission. Thinking of his partner, still laid up, Mr. 11's hatred for Genos burned even brighter. Thanks, Mr. Five. He plastered on a smile and poured another glass, hiding his anger. Asterisk I can submit the mission report myself. Asterisk as long as I help in the fight, no one can take credit away from me. He resolved to wait for the perfect moment to ambush Genos and the Rod pirates. He'd make sure someone snapped a photo, to guarantee his contributions were recognized. We'll deal with the Rod pirates later. First, let's take care of that zombie Genos. Where is he now? Mr. Five put down his glass and turned serious. Chapter 37 Zombie Man Genos, new book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 37 Zombie Man Genos, new book, please read. Tiger Shark Island, North District, is the place to go for leisure and entertainment. Rhodes and Neru were immediately hit by the vibrant atmosphere as they entered. The whole area buzzed with laughter and chatter, punctuated by occasional gunshots and screams, creating a unique kind of energy. This is what they call free will, Rhodes murmured, observing the scene. These people are free from the world government's control and the nobles' oppression. They definitely savor freedom, absolute freedom. But absolute freedom also means unchecked greed and tyranny. The result? The strong control everything, and the weak are controlled, but that's how it is in the sea. So, I'm going to be the one with the biggest fist, the one calling the shots. Neru's expression remained neutral. He deeply understood the nature of this world, but he wasn't trying to change the world. He just needed to be Rhodes's right-hand man and assist him, whether it was to rule the world or destroy it. Over there. Neru pointed to a tavern down the street, their destination. He sensed several strong auras inside. Hold up. As he started forward, Rhodes stopped him, his eyes fixed on a man approaching from the other direction. Judging by his path, he was also heading for the North Sea-style tavern. The man looked like he meant business. He was about 6'3", wearing a long black coat, with short black hair and regular features. His eyes burned with determination. Even from a distance, Rhodes felt his unwavering will. this was a man who would go all out to achieve his goals. Rhodes had never seen this man before, but a thought popped into his head, this is Zombie Man Genos, the guy Baroque Works is trying to recruit. Bang. Genos kicked open the tavern door, ignoring the stares from inside. His eyes scanned the room. Not spotting the Baroque Works mustache, Genos frowned slightly and yelled, "Where's Lem? Get out here." Mr. 11, who had been enjoying a chat with Mr. 5, tensed up, quickly regaining his composure and smiling at Mr. 5. "Looks like we don't have to go looking for him. Zombie Man's here." As he spoke, the makeshift compartment door collapsed, revealing the three people inside to Genos. "You came to us, huh? Must have seen the light and decided to join us." Lem, aka Mr. 11, said with a sneer, looking at Genos in the doorway, if the guy agreed to join Baroque Works now, that would be a real win for Mr. 5 and his crew. "Cut the crap. Since you stoop to such low tactics, get ready to face my wrath." Low tactics. Lem looked momentarily confused by Genos's words, but then he started to wonder what he was talking about. The next thing he knew, Genos was right in front of him, swinging a one-handed axe down on his head. Clang. Lem quickly drew his saber to block the blow, his face contorted in anger. Even though the recruitment attempt had failed, the two sides weren't enemies. Even if they fought, they didn't try to kill each other, leaving room to back down, but this guy was trying to kill him, and the worst part was, he might actually succeed. After struggling to push Genos back, Lem retreated a couple of steps, putting Mr. 5 and Ms. Valentine in front of him. "Zombie Man, do you want to make an enemy of Baroque Works?" He didn't have time to wonder why the guy was suddenly trying to kill him, or if they could still recruit him. His priority was to stay alive. Mr. 5 stood up, his attention zeroed in on Genos, despite wearing sunglasses that hid his eyes. "So, you two are part of Baroque Works, right?" Genos asked. He knew the mustached swordsman among them. He had tried to recruit him to Baroque Works before. His strength was average and not to be feared. The other two people, whose strength was unknown, were also a combination of a man and a woman like Lem. Could they also be members of the Baroque Works? "I can't pretend I didn't hear that." Mr. 5, also in a windbreaker, didn't answer Genos directly. His face was like ice. "You dare threaten our company and talk about wiping us out right in front of our executive commander? I've seen your kind before. You haven't seen the world beyond your backyard. What do you know about true strength?" He rolled up his sleeves, revealing well-trained, muscular arms. "Let me teach you some respect, kid. Respect for the sea." Mr. 5 lunged forward, his arm striking Genos hard. Reacting instantly, Genos raised his arms to block the blow, his expression unchanged. The force wasn't overwhelming. The guy wasn't that strong. Just as the thought crossed his mind, Genos saw the corner of the man in sunglasses' mouth twitch upward. The next instant, a violent explosion rocked the tavern, and a blast of heat and force erupted from their arms, sending Genos flying. Explode. As he soared backward, Genos glanced at his arm, now riddled with holes from the explosion. Ignoring the pain, his expression remained calm. He hadn't seen a bomb hidden on the guy's body, and with the guy's strength, he wouldn't be able to detonate the bomb so close to himself. His body wouldn't have held up in such a close explosion, so, he's a devil fruit user. Genos twisted in midair, landing smoothly, and raised his axes once more. The wounds on his arms had already healed. "I've always respected the sea, that's why I just want to live a stable life in the North Sea." Gripping the axe handles tightly, veins popping on his arms, Genos's eyes burned with cold fury. "You're the ones who disrespect the sea." The ground cracked beneath his feet as Genos shot forward, swinging his axes at Mr. 5. Chapter 38 Fierce Fight, New Book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking at Genos, who shrugged off his injuries instantly and charged again, Mr. 5's expression tightened. He'd heard the reports, but seeing it was still a shock. The guy's recovery was insane. "Ah ha ha. Taste this, the 10,000-kilogram guillotine." A shrill voice sliced through the air as Ms. Valentine dropped from the sky, a leg aimed straight down. She stopped just short, but the shockwave still hit Genos. Crack. Genos heard a bone snap, boom. The kick slammed into the ground, leaving a crater. Ms. Valentine bounced back up, twirling her umbrella with that same nasty grin. This guy declared war on us. We can take him out, no problem. Totally. Mr. 5 dug into his nose, rolled a booger into a ball, flicked it at Genos. Booger blast. Genos, for the first time, looked panicked at the incoming projectile. Ignoring the pain in his shoulder, he swung his axe to block it, that's one attack he didn't want to get hit with. Boom! The axe connected, triggering a massive explosion that engulfed Genos. No matter how fast he heals, he can't recover from that kind of blast. Mr. 5 smirked, watching the smoke clear. He was from the Grand Line. Dealing with small-timers was easy. Mr. 11, but while the fight raged, a goon sporting the Baroque Works tattoo slipped a box to Mr. 11. What's this? Mr. 11 eyed the guy suspiciously. The guy was ugly, sure, but he was quick and useful, especially for things in the North Sea. But why now, during the fight? It's that zombie guy's dog. The goon hunched over, rubbing his hands. He's got no family, just this dog. We threaten the dog, he'll do anything. Slick move. Mr. 11 shook his head, impressed and a little sad. Too late. Now, we just kill him. Huh. Mr. 11 patted the goon's head. I see your potential. You're working for me now. Yes. The guy was ecstatic. His hard work had finally paid off. So, the dog. Just deal with it. Mr. 11 waved him off. The guy nodded, grabbed the box, and headed to sell the pup to the restaurant next door. He could get a bottle of wine for Mr. 11. That guy loved his drinks. Suddenly, a hand clamped over his mouth in the alley. A chop to the back of the head, and he went down hard. He's not dead. Nelu observed. Of course not. I held back. Rhodes picked up the box, carefully placed it down. He glanced at the fallen thug and clenched a fist, still working on that control. The dog's probably knocked out. Rhodes opened the box to find a sleeping, pure white puppy. Well, they wanted to use it as a threat. Killing it wouldn't work. Nyla watched the brawl in the street, then refocused on Rhodes. What's next? Rhodes watched Genos shrug off attacks from two opponents, his eyes shining. We need him on our team. Knew it. Nera nodded, challenging the warlords, conquering the sea. That took more than just a couple of people, they needed allies, and that zombie man was clearly Rhodes' type. Boom. Another explosion. When the smoke cleared, Mr. 5 found himself staring into Genos's burning gaze. He took a half step back, a bad feeling creeping up his spine. What kind of devil fruit was this? Arms blown off, bones shattered, internal organs pulverized, spitting blood. The guy just bounced back, relentlessly attacking. Ms. Valentine floated silently, looking grim. She'd hit him countless times, broken him over and over, and she was getting seriously creeped out by his resilience. Gang up. He's just one guy, all he does is heal fast. His actual fighting isn't that great. Let's finish him. Mr. 11 yelled, and dozens of weapon-wielding thugs emerged from the taverns, Baroque work symbols visible on their bodies. Die, monster. Get him. Kill him. The mob swarmed Genos, weapons raised. You, come with me. We'll wait until the zombies worn down, then strike. No matter how he heals, a stab to the heart and a decapitation should do it. Hearing someone approach, Mr. 11 assumed it was the goon returning from dealing with the dog. He gave instructions without looking back. Not a bad plan. A good sneak attack might actually finish him. Wait, that's not him. Hearing the voice behind him, Mr. 11 whirled around, drawing his sword and slashing. Too slow. Mr. 11 saw a blur. A sharp pain in his wrist, and his grip on the sword loosened. Nice sword, though. Rhodes picked up the fallen blade, a look of surprise on his face. Huazhou, one of the 50 excellent swords. Chapter 39 Recruitment, New Book. please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Rhodes brandished the long knife, admiring the intricate designs on the blade with a satisfied grin. He wasn't much of a swordsman himself, but a good, sharp blade was always a welcome surprise. Didn't expect this weakling to be packing heat like this. He glanced at Mr. 11, who he'd laid out on the ground, then bent down, unhooked the scabbard from the man's waist, and slid the new knife into place. That's my knife. Mr. 11 protested as Rhodes casually claimed it. Not anymore, Rhodes retorted, barely glancing at him. Who are you? Mr. 11 asked, realizing he was outmatched. He wanted to at least know who'd taken him down. You want my bounty? Don't you recognize me? Mr. 11 scrutinized Rhodes and Nelu, his face paling. Red hair, green eyes, they were Rhodes and Nelu of the Rhodes Pirates. Just chill and watch the show, Nelu said, grabbing 2 glasses from the bar. She poured a drink for herself and Rhodes, settling in to watch the street fight unfold. Genos gasped, ripping the broken blade from his chest and tossing it aside. He dug out the 2 bullets lodged in his neck and threw them down as well, then slowly approached Mr. 5. Mr. 5 lay sprawled on the ground, his body riddled with cuts and bruises, the price Genos had paid for his relentless assault. The battle had raged for nearly an hour, leaving all 67 of Baroque Works' goons seriously injured or dead. The 2 senior officers were hurting bad and spent, barely able to stand, and Genos, the zombie-like man, was seemingly unfazed after enduring countless sword thrusts, bullet wounds, and bone-crushing blows. Mr. 5 stared at Genos, unable to find a single lasting injury on him, and a flicker of fear crossed his eyes. This guy was truly unkillable. Why? Why take it this far? He croaked. Even if the devil fruit allowed him to heal, the damage was real, the pain was real. No pirate fought this hard. What was his motivation? Why? Genos echoed, clutching his nearly shattered one-handed axe. He glared down at the man on the ground, a spark of rage in his eyes. You sent someone to steal Sisai. You're asking me why? Sisai? My dog, my only companion. I'll break anyone who lays a hand on her. All this, over a dog? Mr. 5 gasped, dumbfounded. The reason for this carnage was just a dog. That white dog. Mr. 11 exclaimed, his eyes widening. He remembered ordering one of his subordinates to get rid of a dog that Genos owned. Did you do this? Genos's gaze snapped up, landing on Rhodes and Nelu before settling on Mr. 11. He'd noticed the red-haired kids earlier, but they hadn't seemed hostile, so he'd ignored them. No, not me. I don't know anything. Mr. 11 stammered. He wasn't about to tangle with Genos after witnessing the takedown of Mr. 5 and Ms. Valentine. Besides, it hadn't been his idea in the first place. Your Sisai's over there, Rhodes said, pointing to a box near the wall. Hearing this, Genos dropped the axe and rushed to the box, carefully opening it. He sighed in relief when he saw Sisai safe and sound. Gently lifting Sisai out of the box, Genos turned to Rhodes and Nelu. You saved Sisai. Thank you so much. I owe you big time. Anything you want, I'll do it. A wide grin spread across Rhodes's face. Then join my crew. Come sail the seas with me. Huh? Genos blinked, surprised. He was grateful to the pair for rescuing Sisai, and genuinely wanted to repay them. But he'd only refused Baroque Works because he wanted to live a peaceful life, and that had brought him to this request. You're... Genos began tentatively. We're pirates. Rhodes declared. Sorry, Genos said apologetically. I just want to live quietly. I don't want to be chased by the Navy and have no peace. Rhodes ignored the rejection, poured Genos a drink, and gestured for him to sit down. If we had a choice, nobody would want to be hunted, but that's the way it is out there. You can't just wish for peace and expect it to happen. Hasn't this whole thing made that clear? That he raised his glass and clinked it against Genos's. After taking a sip, Rhodes pointed to the defeated members of Baroque Works. That guy you just thrashed was Mr. 5, a senior officer in Baroque works. I'm sure someone as smart as you already knows that the number 5 means there are 4 higher-ups above him. And above them is their president, who's one of the 7 warlords of the sea, Crocodile. Rod watched Genos's expression change and shook his head slightly. You're in it now. If you want to keep living that peaceful life, you have to take down everyone who threatens it. What a mess. Genos sighed, downing his drink. All he wanted was to live a quiet life with Sisai. Rhodes poured him another drink and clapped him on the shoulder. Don't sweat it. Being a pirate ain't as hard as you think. Fact is, if you're strong enough, you can do whatever you want. Still, it's fair to be worried. Pirates tend to get hunted by the Navy a lot. Rhodes stood up and gazed into the distance, his eyes flashing. Like right now. Chapter 40 The Attacking Navy, New Book, Please Read. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the sea north of Tiger Shark Island, 2 warships sliced through the waves. On the lead ship, a towering naval officer stood at the bow, a cigar clenched in his teeth. Thick smoke billowed around his face, obscuring everything but his piercing eyes. Lieutenant General Ghost Spider, we're approaching Tiger Shark Island. Awaiting your orders, sir. A Marine barked, snapping to attention. Ghost Spider stared coldly at the distant island. I hear this place is a pirate haven. He was known as the Navy's most hardcore hawk. His motto, better to kill 100 innocents than let 1 pirate go free. He was ruthless and unwavering. Even his own men were expendable if they interfered with the mission. While he'd been pressured by his superiors to assist the Ernest family, that didn't mean he'd take orders from them. Now that he was here, no pirate on this island would escape his wrath. Haven is a bit of a stretch, sir, but since it's outside any nation's jurisdiction, pirates do tend to congregate here. Brigadier General Qasim Finney, Ghost Spider's longtime right-hand man and a hawk in his own right, chimed in, instantly understanding his boss's thinking. Once we dock, you'll take an elite squad ashore with me. Every pirate we find, we take them down. Ghost Spider barked, his hand gripping the hilt of his sword, a bloodthirsty grin playing on his lips as the island loomed closer. No exceptions. Aye, sir. The warships eased into the dock, soldiers assembling into squads under the commands of their officers. On a ship not far from Ghost Spider's, the Ernest family was preparing for their own landing. Once we're ashore, we split up. Ernest Gula instructed his son, Ernestnia. Even with CP pulling strings to get the Navy involved, I didn't expect it would be Ghost Spider. Gula's face was grim as he eyed the approaching island. That man's a complete hard-ass. He won't hesitate to wipe out every pirate he sees. I'll stick with him to make sure he doesn't kill Nia on sight. If he's busy with other pirates, I'll go search for Nia on my own. You take some men and find Nia ASAP, understand? Bring her back, by any means necessary. A cold glint flickered in Gula's eyes. Even if her legs were broken, she had to be brought back home. Understood, Neo responded, his expression betraying nothing of the turmoil within. Prepare to move out. The Ernest family's warship bumped against the pier. Lieutenant Colonel Mara Levi, take your unit and secure the west side of Tiger Shark Island. Major Regina Cantor, you and your men take the east side. Captain Juan Yakub, your soldiers will follow us straight ahead. Major Kensa Keel, move the ship offshore. If any suspicious vessel tries to leave, open fire. Ghost Spider barked, leaping off his ship and striding forward as soon as the ramp hit the sand. Qasim Finney rattled off orders to the others. As soon as he set foot on the beach, Ghost Spider unleashed his senses. He knew pirates were lurking just ahead. Moments later, Ghost Spider led dozens of Marines into the North District. Their presence immediately drew attention. The Navy? What are they doing here? Didn't we all agree this place wasn't part of the world government, so they wouldn't bother us? Maybe it's just some routine patrol. We're not even worth anything. They'll leave us alone. Yeah, you're probably right. Bang! 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 Several bullets tore through the air, felling the loudest pirates. Ghost Spider's eyes narrowed. I can smell the stench of pirates from a mile away. He roared, with a wave of his hand, the Marines charged forward. The joyful sounds of the street were drowned out by screams and the clash of steel. And the Rhodes pirates? You're not going anywhere. Ghost Spider stared down 3 figures in the distance. Crazy Blade Rhodes, Black Gun Nelu, and some unknown black-haired kid. New recruit, maybe. It didn't matter, they would all die the same. The Ernest family's target, Catwoman, wasn't here. Hold on, I never agreed to join this gang, Genos protested, his voice laced with incredulity. His words were answered by a hail of bullets. One sword style, red flower 1,000 slashes. Rhodes roared, drawing his newly acquired Liang Kuai Dao, Huazhou. A blur of sword light erupted, deflecting the bullets in a dazzling display. As one of the 50 best swordsmen, the previous owner of Huazhou was also a well-known swordsman. Now, with Knights Do Not Die Bare-Handed taking effect, Rhodes was able to learn his signature swordsmanship. With his solid foundation in Kendo, he quickly mastered the style. Even as Rhodes was deflecting the volley, Ghost Spider lunged forward, his massive sword arcing downward. Clang! Rhodes parried the blow, feeling a terrifying force coursing through his arm. The ground beneath his feet cracked. As Rhodes struggled to hold off Ghost Spider, Qasim Finney appeared before Neru, attempting a swift headbutt. Shave. Neru dodged, appearing a distance away in the blink of an eye. He leveled his black pistol and fired. Bang! You can't hit me with a bullet. A red glint flashed in Qasim Finney's eyes. He twisted his body, narrowly avoiding the shot, and unleashed a powerful kick. Storm kick. A crescent wave of energy hurtled towards Neru. Neru stood his ground, meeting the attack head-on. Bang! The power of his kick deflected Qasim Finney's storm kick, sending it careening through a nearby tavern. Neru couldn't help but smile. Success. Armament hockey. Still rough and weak, but at least he'd managed to tap into its potential.